Fruit is like rocket fuel for athletes. It's rich in simple sugars, fast digestion, it's high in water content, it can be eaten on its own in large quantities, small quantities, and is available year round. So why do a lot of athletes experience dips in energy or chronic fatigue when they switch to a fruit-based diet if fruit is really the ultimate food for performance? There's two main reasons why athletes experience major dips in energy when switching to fruit. I'm going to address both reasons in this video and how you can prevent them. But first, if you want to lose 15 pounds before your next triathlon, click the link in the description and you can access my free ebook, Triathlete Weight Loss. The first reason why athletes experience a big dip in energy when switching to a fruit-based diet is they're probably not eating enough calories. Fruit has far fewer bites compared to conventional food, such as pizza, pasta, sushi, rice, potatoes, meats, and sugary drinks and sugary foods. As an example, one bite of pizza could have 100 calories in it, whereas one bite of a banana could have 30 calories. One bite of a watermelon might only have 10 calories in it. So in order to solve this problem of not getting enough calories, because if you're not getting enough calories, you're gonna be hungry and you're gonna be tired. To make sure you get enough calories on fruit, what you need to do is you need to start off at breakfast, and basically what you need to do is you need to keep eating more fruit until you can make it from breakfast to lunch without being hungry. So as an example, if you eat 3 apples for breakfast and then you're hungry an hour later, you need to eat more fruit the next day. Essentially what you're doing is you're stretching your stomach to hold more volume. When I first transitioned to a fruit-based lifestyle, I was training for a 100K ultra marathon, and I went out for a 5-hour trail run, came back and had a banana smoothie with 4 bananas and some raspberries in it. The smoothie tasted really good and I felt really good after eating it, but then I was hungry right away. And when I did the math, it turned out I was only eating maybe 500 calories and I'd been running for 5 hours. But what I needed to do is I basically needed to eat about 4 or 5 times the amount of fruit that I was already eating. So I started making banana smoothies with 20 bananas in it, and that has almost 2,000 calories in it. But that might sound extreme to eat that many calories, but when you're running for 4 or 5 hours, or training for triathlons, or training for ultra marathons, you got to eat that much. You got to can eat that much food, or else you're just not going to have enough energy for training. So eat more fruit and you won't experience as much dip in fatigue. The second reason why athletes experience a big dip in energy when switching to a fruit-based diet is that for the first time in their life, the lymphatic system is actually eliminating toxins. The lymphatic system is responsible for removing waste from our body. Now, what happens is when we eat foods that are really rich in acidity and are low in water content, such as pork, beef, chicken, all manners of meat, breads, pastas, starches, rice, salt, sugar, even dairy, cheese, parmesan, mozzarella, all these foods, they're really acidic forming, really acid forming, and really low in water content. And what happens when we have a diet rich in acidity and a diet rich in acidity and a diet low in water is our lymphatic system is prevented from eliminating toxins. So what happens is all these toxins build up. When toxins start to build up, as athletes, we increase inflammation in our body and then we increase the risk of injury. That's why so many athletes are injured. So many athletes get injured because they have too much inflammation and too much toxicity in the body. Now, that's the short-term effect of having an acid-forming diet, low in water content food. The second big thing is we degrade our health when we eat acid-forming foods and foods that are low in water content. So essentially what I mean by that is we get things like cancer, cardiovascular diseases, kidney failure, adrenal fatigue, and all of our glands and all of our organs are greatly impaired when we eat acid-forming food. Now, what starts to happen when we switch to a fruit-based diet, and fruit is really high in water and it's very alkaline. And so high water content foods and foods that are alkaline promote the lymphatic system to start draining. When the lymphatic system starts to drain, all these toxins in our body start to move. And this is a really uncomfortable healing experience. And it's normal to experience huge dips in energy when this is happening. And essentially what the body is doing is it's eliminating toxins and it's healing itself. And in order to heal really effectively, we need to rest. Like imagine if you break your arm. You put it in a cast and then it needs rest. It's the same thing with our lymphatic system. When it gets overused, as so much of our lymphatic system is overused, if you eat acid-forming foods like meat, dairy, pasta, breads, sugars, and salts, caffeine as well, coffee as well, your lymphatic system is so backed up, it's so injured, it's broken. It's not broken, but it needs rest. So when you feel low dips in energy, this is your body trying to heal itself. One of the greatest examples I've ever seen of this situation of really heavy detox is in the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. Basically what happens is Joe Cross is fat, he's sick, and he's nearly dead. He's on pharmaceutical drugs, he's overweight, he has autoimmune diseases, his health is just terrible. He's eaten the standard American diet full of meats, cheeses, pasta, breads, coffee, and stimulants, all the things that are acid forming, all the things that are low in water content food. And what he does basically overnight is he switches to a raw fruit and vegetable based juice diet. So he's doing juice only, raw fruits and vegetables. And he does this switch overnight. And basically what happens is the contrast between his diet before and his contrast between his diet now was so drastic, and he was detoxing so heavily that he was basically in bed for 3 days. He was basically had no energy for about 3 days. And all he could do was lie in bed. So all he did was, drink his juices, lie in bed for 3 days. And then after 3 days, once the bulk of his toxicity and his toxins in his body had moved on, he had more energy than he did before. Because what happens to so many people and so many athletes as well is our bodies are not functioning at their maximum capacity due to too much toxins and too much acidity in the body. Most people have too much gunk in their body. So all the glands, all the organs are not functioning at their normal capacity. If so many athletes are sick and unhealthy, how are they still performing? And the answer is really simple to that. The answer is stimulants. And so what people have to do to compensate for being so unhealthy is they have to have things like caffeine, they have to have sugary sport drinks, gels, things like that to get through their day. Another big stimulant most people don't realize is meat is actually a very big stimulant as well, because when an animal diet releases adrenaline because it's scared, and when we eat meat, we get that boost in adrenaline and it stimulates our adrenals. So the big reason why athletes experience chronic fatigue and low dips in energy when switching to a fruit-based diet is because your body is not functioning properly. Your body is not functioning properly. And so you're putting your body in an environment to heal itself. So essentially what you're doing is you're playing this long-term game with your health. Because do you want to be able to race and train only for a little bit? Or do you want to be able to race and train for your whole life? Do you want to be healthy? Or do you want to be sick? Another great way of looking at this is if you imagine a pool of still, stagnant water. Now, what happens when water becomes still and stagnant? It starts to have toxins build up in it. There's mucus lining the edges, there's oils that start to accumulate, mosquitoes start to come, bacteria starts to build. Basically, when water is still, toxins start to accumulate. The body is the same way. So if the lymphatic system is still, toxins will accumulate. And the reason our lymphatic system gets still is because we eat acid-forming foods that are low in water content. Now, when the pool of water starts to move, all the toxins get eliminated, right? So if water is moving, there's no mosquitoes, there's no mucus, there's no oils, there's no bacteria in moving water. Everyone even knows if you're out hiking to go drink from moving water. You don't drink from still water when you're out running in the woods. You just don't do that because you get sick and they're full of toxins. So it really is worth knowing that when you switch to a fruit-based diet, what you're doing is you're changing the environment in your body. And when you change the environment in your body to an alkaline water content diet, you're gonna have a lymphatic system that is actually starting to heal. Now, the benefits of this, long term at least, is that all your organs and all your glands are actually going to start to function at normal rates. And once you get them functioning at normal rates, your capacity for performance is going to be way, way higher than it is before. Your recovery is also going to be a lot faster because your glands, organs, and your entire body are actually functioning. So as an athlete, how can you avoid these uncomfortable detoxification symptoms and these low energy levels? Okay, so the first tip on how to avoid this situation is to switch to a fruit-based diet slowly. So the more gradually you switch to an alkaline forming, high water content diet, the more gradual your detoxification symptoms are going to be. I transitioned to being a raw vegan over about a 3-month period. I didn't really experience any crazy detox symptoms because I did it very, very gradually. The second tip I have to avoid chronic fatigue, low energy levels, and crazy detox symptoms as an athlete would be to not avoid them. So I would suggest not avoiding them. So the more drastically you switch from a standard American diet to a high fruit diet, the more drastic your symptoms are going to be. But again, like I said, this is a cause for celebration because you're eliminating toxins from the body. When you eliminate toxins from the body, you're not only going to eliminate toxins, but you're going to also lose a lot of water weight. So at the end of your big elimination, you're probably going to be 5 or 10 pounds lighter. So what I would suggest doing is actually reducing training volume and intensity for about a week or two to let your body actually rest, heal, and eliminate toxins. Now, it might seem a little bit frustrating as an athlete to reduce training volume for a week or two, but remember, we're playing a long-term game here. Would you rather be racing when you're 50, 60, 70, 80, Or would you rather be only racing for the next 4 or 5 years and then you're going to be injured and too sick to actually perform? Because that's the alternative here. So the two choices you have here are you can play the short-term game, eat all the crappy stimulating foods you want, the acid-forming foods that are low in water content food, keep eating your unhealthy foods, meat, dairies, porks, chicken, pastas, breads, cheeses, coffee, gels, sport drinks, processed sugar, processed salt. Keep eating all those foods, stimulate your body, and basically all you're gonna do is you're gonna stimulate your body into an early grave. And there's a major difference between being healthy and fit. My dad, he could race bikes with me when he was 50, but he died from a heart attack when he was 50 because he ate crappy food and he did not have a functioning lymphatic system because he wasn't cleaning his body out of the toxins. So that's your choice. You can keep eating the same crappy foods, or you can switch your fruit-based diet, suffer a little bit of detox symptoms, and actually be racing long-term, healthfully for the remainder of your life. Choice is up to yours. If you have any questions, comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.